very much, and that's not going to change because I told you guys I'm not going to lose no friends over people who don't give a shit about me. Um, the guy that I want to mention, and maybe he'll see this video. I hope he does because I actually love this guy a lot, and I think he's just a great guy. He's very conscientious. His name is Etan Thomas. Now, Etan Thomas is a former NBA player and just an all around good dude. And and at the end of the day, we're gonna be friends, and I'm gonna love him no matter what. And I think he agrees with me on this. But he put up an interesting post today on Facebook or on Instagram, and I'm gonna call him about it because I think I'd like to actually get more of his insights on it, maybe even have him on the show. But I thought it was worth discussing, and it had to do with this. He basically on his Instagram, which you should follow. He's a really smart guy. He mentions that he says, beware of people that will bring up Biden and Kamala Harris's past, but don't bring up Trump's present. They will talk about Kamala Harris and Joe Biden more than they talk about Donald Trump. These people may be on Trump's payroll. Now, my goddaughter sent it to me. She said, "Is he talking about you?" And I said, "No, I know he ain't talking about me because he's my friend. So that's not even an issue." But the thing is, I saw that and I said, I think that's an interesting point to address, and I think it's something worth discussing because I think that's a learning and teaching point in terms of how to do elections and how to do politics. There's a way you play the game from the top and the way you play the game from the bottom. And I've discussed this a little bit before, so I'm not going to sort of start from the beginning with all the arguments regarding my political position. But I will say this, first and foremost, I got to this point of view after many, many years of being a hardcore Democrat. I was big time liberal. If you go back and read articles I wrote in the 90s, you'll read where I was talking specifically about, Black Republicans are sellouts. Black, white, Democrats are going to do this and do that. We need to go show up and vote, this, that, and the other. And these are things I really believed. I believe these things. That's where I was mentally. I'm old enough. I mean, just to tell you guys, that I'm not 25 years old. I remember, when Bill Clinton got elected and being super excited about that because I really thought that was going to make a difference. And then weird things started to happen. I sat there and I watched a lot of my friends go to prison when Bill Clinton and Joe Biden wrote that crime bill. This was not like seeing something on TV. This was something I saw in real life. I saw my community fall apart. I saw families falling apart. I saw brothers getting sent away for 150 years, just because they participated in a phone call. They set up a drug deal. And it really hurt my heart. And then I saw their children grow up without fathers. And I saw this lead to a lot of decay in the Black community. And what has always gotten to me is that nobody has addressed this. Everyone's kind of ignored this. Everyone's sort of accustomed to ignoring your pain. They're accustomed to ignoring what you've gone through. They're accustomed to ignoring your trauma. And they just say, shut up, nigga, and vote. Shut up and vote. Just shut up and vote. No, we're not going to talk about your shit. Just shut up and vote. Shut up and vote. And I think about things that in terms of, in terms of what slavery and freedom looks like, right? And that led me to question, well, what is slavery really? What is freedom? Slavery is when somebody's telling you what to do. Freedom is when you decide what you want to do. Slavery is when somebody stands over you and says, shut up and do your job. I might pay you, I might not. Freedom is when you say, you know what, I'm gonna do the job the way I want to do it, when I want to do it. And so I decided over time that my goal was to see Black people be free. And that means free from everything. That means even freedom from me. That means if I'm talking to you and I say some stuff that you think is bullshit, then I encourage you to do what you're supposed to do. Do what lies on your heart and your conscience. The best thing I can do is make an argument. The best thing I can do is say, you know what, do what's best for you. And let me tell you why I'm going to do what's best for me and what that conclusion is. So I think that one of the challenges you have as Black people, and I think that many of us are accustomed to this, is that you're not respected. You're not respected by even your friends. Your enemies certainly don't respect you. I think, for those who look for me to talk about what a failure Donald Trump is as a human being, I don't talk about that much because that's a foregone conclusion. That's like if you give me a choice between eating a steak dinner or eating chicken, and somebody says, well, you need to eat chicken because rat food tastes terrible. Well, I'm like, why am I? And they're like, you're not talking about how bad the rat food is. I'd be like, well, why would I even be talking about rat food? I'm not even thinking about eating rat food. I'm just mad. I just want you to make the chicken right. I need you to cook the chicken right, because if you don't cook the chicken right, I'm going to hop in my car and I'm going to drive down the street and I'm going to go eat it in another restaurant. right? So when somebody comes up and I'm talking about the issues with Joe Biden and why Joe Biden's crime bill bothers me and why I'm bothered by the Democrats ignoring me, or you saw Ice Cube came through and Ice Cube had his issues as well. And people say, well, why aren't you talking about Trump? You need to be talking about Trump as much as you're talking about Biden. Well, part of the reason I don't talk about Trump is because I have no respect for the idea of even considering voting for Trump. Trump is rat food. Talking about Trump and why Trump did this and didn't do that, that's like kicking a dead horse to me, because Trump ain't gonna get my vote. There's never a time where I've ever thought about voting for Trump, and I'm not gonna vote for Trump in this election. So when you say, well, Doc, why don't you talk about Trump as much as you talk about Biden? I get confused because I'm thinking, well, Trump isn't even part of the conversation. He's not even somebody that's even in the universe of possibilities in terms of what I'm going to vote for. So really, when I tell you the chicken ain't cooked right, you keep saying, well, why don't you talk about how bad rat food tastes? And I'm like, no, this ain't between me and the rat food, or choosing between the rat food and the uncooked chicken. This is between me and the chicken. Right? This is between me and the chicken. This is me saying, you need to cook this shit right. I'm not gonna eat this unhealthy, uncooked chicken and get salmonella because you told me rat food tastes like shit. Right? Because at the end of the day, I'm a free man. I am not a person who is ever going to respond to pressure. I'm not a person that's ever going to respond to being told what to do. So when you tell me that I've got the choice between dead chicken or uncooked chicken and rat food, I'm going to say I'm not going to eat. Right. And I think for Black people, we're trained to believe, Negro, you better eat. Negro, you better eat something. We got rat food over here and we got uncooked chicken over here. You better eat one or the other. And you're like, oh, but it tastes bad. It's going to make me sick to my stomach. I'll throw up every time. It don't matter. It might kill me. No, it don't matter. Eat your food. And don't ask us to do nothing else with the chicken. When you say cook it better, they're like, well, we don't hear you. We're not going to cook. Why would we want to cook? Why would we want to cook a healthy meal for Black people? Black people don't deserve to eat healthy. Fuck you. Like seriously, that's what I'm hearing. That's what I hear when I see, and this was one of the things that led me to be happy to invite Ice Cube onto the platform, was because he did a good video where he said that he talked about how at the whole Democratic National Convention, not once did they even mention the contract with Black America. Rarely, if ever, I don't think they mentioned at all the word reparations. If I did a poll with Black people right now, if I did a poll with y'all right now, give me a yes or no in the chat. Yes or no. Do you support reparations? Do you consider reparations to be an important agenda item for the election? Yes or no? Is reparations important to you? Is reparations important to you? Give me a yes or no in the chat. I'm gonna do a quick survey right now. Is reparations important for you? There we go. I'm seeing your yeses scrolling down the screen. If I did a survey, if I did a poll, I do surveys all the time on my platform because I'm a statistician. You guys know this. In the surveys, when I say, do you support reparations? It's like 97% yes. It's insanely high. So if they want something from you and you want something from them, why do they expect you to give them what they want, but you don't get what you want? Let me just tell you like this. If you're laying down, if you're fucking somebody right now, if you're having sex, first of all, I want to congratulate you if you're having some sex. But if you're having sex and they're getting everything they want and you're getting nothing that you want, then you need to go have sex with somebody else. You getting played. You a sucker right now. Like seriously, like the way good sex is supposed to happen is you're supposed to enjoy it and I'm supposed to enjoy it. If you enjoy it and I don't enjoy it, that makes me a damn fool. If you're getting what you want and I'm getting nothing, then that makes me stupid. I'm going to walk away from that situation. So I encourage you, if you're getting bad sex like that, walk away from the situation and find something better for yourself. So let me keep going. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. If you haven't hit the thumbs up button, share and subscribe button, please do that. Let me just kind of break this down for you real quick, because some people have a harder time kind of understanding this. And I get it because I wasn't always that way. When I was younger, I was all Democrat. The Republicans are racist, and maybe they are. I don't know. I never thought about being a Republican. I'm not interested. I have friends that are Republicans. One thing that I decided for sure is that I was not going to participate in these artificially constructed civil wars. I'm not going to participate in the Willie Lynchism of Democrat Republican politics. Democrat Republican politics are the ultimate Willie Lynchism, because what it does is it creates an artificial divide in your community, where you get black people that are so hardcore loyal to the Democrats and other black people that are so hardcore loyal to the Republicans that they'll start fighting each other and killing each other on behalf of their master. That's like me killing you. That's like me killing you because I wear Nikes and you wear Reeboks, when Nike and Reebok ain't doing shit for neither one of us. Nike and Reebok ain't coming to none of our funerals. Nike and Reebok ain't paying no bills up in your house. But yet, because I love Nike so much, I will kill you because I see you wearing Reeboks. And this happens all the time. We've seen black people killing each other over streets and street colors and streets that they don't even own. When you go to Africa, you saw the Hutus and the Tutsis slaughter each other because the Europeans came in and drew a line between that community. If you go to Vietnam, you look at the Vietnam War, the Americans and the Soviets created a divide in the country of Vietnam that led to people killing and slaughtering members of their own family. It destroyed that country. It obliterated that country to the point where they did not recover for decades. Anybody who's ever watched video on the fall of Saigon, go watch video about the fall of Saigon and what happened to that community, that country, when the Americans basically got them to go ride or die for them and then didn't have the political will to stick it out and stand by them. So they abandoned the country and the city just fell apart. I'm talking about women got raped, babies got murdered, people got thrown in concentration camps. It was a damn mess, all because people in this country took sides in a battle that was not theirs. They took sides in a war that did not belong to them. They got involved in something that was basically white folks' problems, and they took it too seriously. So when I think about Trump and Biden, and I think about white folks getting mad about Trump or other white folks getting mad about Biden, I honestly see them as white folks' problems. I really do. I'm not going to say Trump is not a bastard. He absolutely positively is. I would not want him in my house. I would not want him babysitting my kids. I would not want to have a drink with this man. I don't like this man at all. But I don't think about him very much because he does not affect what happens in my house. He just doesn't. Now, if you want to really get detailed about it, what Biden did and Clinton did with the crime bill did affect my house. I know people personally who went to prison, who went to concentration camps because of the Biden-Clinton crime bill. Give me a yes or no. Give me a yes or no. How many of you in here have a friend or relative or somebody you know who got a lot of years in prison over something related to the Biden-Clinton crime bill, three strikes law, war on drugs, any of that? Give me a yes or no if you know somebody or you know somebody, whose kids grew up really fucked up because their daddy had been in prison since 1994. Like how many of y'all have seen this up close, seen the carnage up close? Yeah, a lot of us have. And so this was my personal decision in terms of why I can't go back. If you get me to go back and vote for the person that slaughtered my own loved ones, that makes me into a sucker. That makes me feel like a complete sucker, that I am so weak as a man that I got to go support a guy who literally wrote the book on Black incarceration and sending Black people to concentration camps, exterminating us like they did the Jews in World War II. I can't do it. It makes me a sucker. Maybe you got to find somebody different. I'm not voting for him because I have not forgiven him. I have not forgotten any of this. I'm not one of those, don't get no disrespect to the Black folks that go to church. Maybe going to church and getting Jesus in the Bible and praying gives you a level of forgiveness that I don't have. Maybe you just have something that I don't have. I don't even dislike you. I don't diss the Black church at all, but I'm just going to tell you, I don't believe you should be out here forgiving everybody, and definitely not until they made it right. If they make it right, then maybe we can talk. But if you ain't made it right, if you come in here and you pee on my children, and then you come back the next day and act like we supposed to be friends again, and you ain't apologized, you ain't fixed it, you ain't paid reparations or compensation for your behavior to even begin the process of rebuilding our relationship, then how the hell am I supposed to go and act like everything's okay? Right? That pretty much is something I can't do as a man, because that makes me feel like I've been subjugated to white supremacy. That makes me a white supremacist when I can go and forgive a white man for doing something that I probably couldn't even forgive a Black man for. You know, I don't know if I could forgive a black man or a white man for causing my older brother to go to prison, causing my younger brother to go to prison, causing my daddy to go to prison, sending all my friends to prison. Like I can't walk. I can't just act like that did not happen. Right. So, oh, and don't forget, did I say my daddy? Yeah, my biological father. He went to prison around some drugs or whatever. Right. Doesn't mean that these were perfect people, but I know plenty of white boys who do 10 times worse, who don't get any time in jail at all. Don't even never see a handcuff. Right. So I'm sitting there just trying to tell you that when I think about Joe Biden, I'm looking at him in a vacuum. I'm looking at him based on his own merits. I'm not going to circle back around because you suckered me into this game of lesser of two evils. That I understand that move. I'm a mathematician. I'm a strategist. That's a chess move. A chess move is when I lock you into two bad choices and then make you feel like you have to choose. Right. That's for example, that's how they get trillions of dollars in black wealth out of you for student loans. They increase the price of going to college to an insane level, and then they make you believe that you can't succeed without college. So you got to walk through this tunnel to get what you believe you must have. So that's how they pull you into debt. So we talk about debt itself being slavery. A lot of y'all got student loans that you're never going to be able to repay. Many of you are going to die in debt, even though you're the smartest person in your family. And my heart goes out to you. But what happened was that you were forced into an impossible choice. You were led to believe that you can't succeed without college, and then they jack up the price of college. And it's an economic strategy. It's what they call inelastic demand. Is that right? Yeah, inelastic demand is when you demand something, no matter what the price is, you must have it. You're like a crackhead will pay anything to get crack. So basically, you have to do it, and then you do it, and then the cost is incredibly high, but you do it anyway because you feel like you have no choice. So the best way to deal with the inelastic demand issue is you must create options for yourself. You must always have an option. And my point is, at the end of the day, black people, you must always never forget that you always have a choice. Never let anybody make you believe that you don't have a damn choice. Because every time somebody limits your choices, they are limiting your power. They are telling you that you can't move forward without them, which unfortunately, in an ironic way, makes you into a white supremacist because you feel like you got to go back to your white Jesus in order to get the things that you need, in order to even have a shot at liberation. And they're like, yeah, good. We got them right where we want them. So that slavery aspect of it all, it starts before the decision's even made. And I've run into that. One time, y'all can even go look this up. One time I was doing an interview with Dame Dash. And I like Dame, so this is not a diss at all, but it was really funny. Dame was talking about some issue with his baby mama or something. I don't know what they was. It was something. I don't know. I'm not even judging. This was what it was. But he was trying to get me to answer a question and say, well, if somebody did this and this and this and blah, 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 and then you said this, this, and this, and then they said that's this and that, wouldn't you go and do blah, blah, blah? And he was trying to justify his decision. He was trying to get me to say, yeah, I would do the same thing. And you know what I said? I said, no, I'm not answering that question. And I didn't answer the question because I knew it was a trap trick question. I knew it was a question where the only logical answer I could give was one that led me right into the mousetrap that he had created. And again, I love Dame. This is, just like when I talk about Etan, like these are guys I love and respect. This is not an animosity type thing at all. This is just me sharing with you how I think. I believe the black man has to be strategic. So I was like, I'm not answering. He really pressured me. He kept hammering and hammering. Come on, you got to answer. Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes or no? I said, I'm not answering. None of the above. Like I need another option. I need another box to check outside of the two boxes that you gave me. And so when it comes to voting, I'm the same way. If I don't like box 1 and I don't like box 2, then I'm going to write in a box 3 and say, I'm not participating in none of this shit. Like until you come correct. Don't come at me with that nonsense. Don't come at me with those first grader strategies. I'm too smart for that. I'm a college professor. So here's the deal. Do me a favor, if you could, please hit the thumbs up button, share, and subscribe button. If you haven't done it yet, please hit the thumbs up button. Also subscribe to drboystv.com. If you want to have intelligent conversations, that's what we do. We're the platform for intelligent black people. Stupid people don't really do very well here, but if you're intelligent and want to be smart, then come on in. So here's the thing. When I talk about Joe Biden and Trump and everything else, I'm not really campaigning for Biden. I'm not campaigning for Trump. I'm campaigning for black people. That's what I campaign for. I campaign for black people. And so If you want to know why I talk about Biden, he should be honored that I talk about him. And the reason Biden should be honored that I even talk about him is because when I talk about you, when I tell you the things you need to fix, that means I'm giving you a chance. I don't talk about Trump because Trump does not have a chance to get my vote. There is almost nothing Trump could do that I can think of other than write a check for $100 billion right now. There's nothing Trump could do that could get my vote. So I don't talk about Trump because Trump's not part of my conversation. It's about a standard. It's about a standard that you must meet in order to get my vote. And you can't say, well, I met the standard because he didn't meet the standard. And that is an argument I want you to be very careful about. When all they say, when you say we want this, this, and this for our vote, and they say, well, we're going to ignore this, this, and this, but we're going to get rid of Donald Trump. Well, then that's you're doing yourself a favor. You hate Donald Trump. You're scared of Donald Trump. I ain't scared of nothing. The only thing that scares me is being a sucker who doesn't do what's best for his people. What scares me is not delivering for the communities that I care about. What scares me is living in this repetitive cycle where the community looks the same 20 years from now that it did 20 years ago. That's what scares me. So Trump scares you. He does not scare me. I've heard him talk bad about Mexicans. Yeah, sure. Is he a white supremacist? Yeah, probably. There's probably about 1 million Donald Trumps out. Most of y'all probably work for Donald Trump at some point. And I'm not really into the whole culture of believing that getting white people to like us is the key to our salvation. I don't give a shit if he likes black people or not. I just really don't care. I just don't. I think that we should like ourselves enough to stand up for ourselves, because I don't believe anybody likes you. If they tell you they like you, if they come out tomorrow and say that they like you, that means that they're lying to you and they're playing you. See, people will kiss your lips and fuck you in the ass at the same time. Like, they will come up and give you a hug with a knife coming right into your back while they're hugging you, right? So you need to be careful about these politicians where I'm talking about we love black people. Black lives matter. Think about this. Some of these people, you go back 20 years ago, they were saying some of the most horrible shit imaginable about black people. And then the next minute, they're like, Black lives matter. We appreciate the African-American community. Yeah. But do you remember, check this out, Saddam Hussein, that when they declared war on Saddam Hussein back in the day, they showed clips of what the politicians were saying about Saddam when they declared war versus what they were saying about him 5 years earlier when they was making money off his ass. It was like night and day. I swear to God, go look it up. When they're declaring war, they're like, he's evil, he's terrible, we must liberate the people of Iraq. 5 years early, when they was getting that oil money, oh, he's a great leader and we really love Saddam. We had a great conversation. He's a really good guy. Right? So I'm just telling you, these people are liars. They will lie to you to get what they want out of you, especially if they know that you're such a sucker that you need love and affection to get a vote. Like, all I got to do is tell you I love you. Well, shit, bitch, I love you. Shit, what I need, I'm going to love you forever. How about that? You're the most beautiful the woman I ever seen. What else I need to say? Like you gonna take your pants off now? Like, seriously, like that's literally what you're getting. You're literally getting played by people who understand the art of manipulation. So I'm just telling you that looking for love in all the wrong places is a great way to be fooled. It's a great way to be suckered. It's a great way to be used. I'm not into that. But again, maybe it's because I'm 49 and not 19, or 49 and not 29, right? There's times where, like, maybe if you talked to me 20 years ago, I would have been on board with this whole, like, oh, Trump. I would have spent my whole day ranting about how Trump, can you believe what Trump did? He's a white supremacist. Let me tell you, Trump supported the alt-right, and he said he didn't say nothing when the white guy killed the black guy, and Trump is Trump. Like, I would do that. And what happens is that if you did those things, then what would happen eventually is you would realize that they still didn't respect you. They expect things from you, but they don't respect you at the end of the day. So they expect you to show up, but they don't respect you. So look, I'm gonna tell you like this. I don't really know, and this is no disrespect to people who disagree. This is no disrespect to people who are voting their conscience. I'm not telling you who to vote for. I don't do that. And I want to make sure that's 100% clear. I'm not out here telling black people who to vote for. I've simply told black people to do what's best for themselves. I've simply said, just, look at the candidates and realize you always have a choice. Just whatever you do, just be a free black man when you do it. Be a free black woman when you do it. And it's so weird that people will be like, I'm offended by what you said. And I'm like, well, why are you offended? I think you're offended. I get it. I think you're offended because you assume that that white man owns me. Like you assume that he gets my vote. Because I'm like, well, if I told you I'm not voting for Trump, then why would you have a problem if I say I'm not voting for either one of these bastards? Right? Well, because if you don't vote, then Trump's going to be in office. And I'm like, well, if they wanted Trump out of office, then they should probably do more to get my vote, don't you think? Don't you think? I never said my vote's not available. It's right here. They just got to come earn it, right? Well, no. Well, if you don't vote, then you don't count. I'm like, no, I count. I know that I count. And in fact, the reason I know that I count is that you are so deeply offended that if I stay away from the polls, you're afraid that you won't be able to get what you want politically, right? So I know that I count, and that's why I'm holding my shit over your head, because I can get your attention. Well, no, this ain't the right time. This ain't the right time to do this. You can't do this right now. This ain't the right time because this election is life or death, life or death. And I'm like, okay, well, this is where I go into Uncle Boy's OG mode, where I'm like, I've seen a bunch of these elections. Every election, they tell you it's life or death. I understand marketing and political theory and all. This is a strategy. Fear is a great motivator to get people to do things. So they're basically telling you it's life or death because they do that in every election. And also, the second thing is that actually it's not the worst time for you to get what you want. It's actually the best time to get what you want. You just got to have some goddamn balls attached to your body. You got to have some courage to come in and push a hard bargain. Now, I'm not telling you that you got to do what I'm doing. I don't do that. But at the end of the day, if you want to get what you want, you have to be willing to say, hey, I'll let the whole goddamn house burn down. I'll let this old crazy bastard stay in the White House for another 4 years, another 10 years. I don't know. Maybe Jared Kushner will be elected next until you get your shit right. Is that what you want? Is that what you want? Well, no, we can't have that. It'll destroy America. Well, then you better get to stepping. You better get to where in the convention, I better hear about contract with Black America. I better hear you talking about your reparations plan. I better hear you better show up at my house with a bag of Cheetos and a root beer and a birthday cake every Tuesday in order to get my vote. If you can't do that, if you can't do things that show me that you really value my vote, then I'm not going to give you my vote because my vote is valuable to me, right? It's no different from a young lady telling a man, I'm not going to sleep with you because you don't value what I have. You think this is some old Cardi B shit where you can get access to my body for $8 and a box of Fruit Loops, but this ain't how we do things over here. If you want what I have to offer, well, it doesn't matter what you value, but what matters is that I value this, and I'm not giving this away cheap. So I value my vote, and I'm not giving my vote away cheap. That it doesn't mean I'm telling anybody else what to do. It just means I'm telling you what I'm going to do, and I make the instructions exceptionally clear. We need to talk about reparations. Talking about the contract with Black America will get you extra brownie points. And then you might hear me one day come in and say, okay, they got my vote. They earned my vote. Hey, y'all, I'm going to tell you, I'm changing my position. I'm not telling you what to do, but I decided I'm going to go ahead and vote for Biden because I like the way he was really riding for this contract with Black America. I think it's going to be great for the community. Hopefully there'll be some implementation, or better yet, maybe there is some proof of implementation. I don't know. So anyway, thank you, Black Mama, for your donation. I appreciate your kind words. Thank you very much. The last piece I'll throw in here is this. When you talk about this whole, lesser of two evils argument, where you're boxed in, like because you don't choose option A, you must choose option B. Another way to help you understand it is, has anybody ever gone through a breakup? Because I think this is this is a perfect relationship analogy. You have an abusive relationship with a very bad partner who claims that they love you, they need you, but they don't really care about you, right? Loving somebody and caring about somebody are two different things. I can love you, but not give a shit about you. Like I can love my car, but I don't care about my car. If my car breaks down, I'm gonna get a better car, right? So, or if I could afford a nicer car, I would be driving that car, not this car, right? So somebody can love you and need you, but not really care about you. Give me a yes or no if you follow what I'm saying. You follow what I'm saying? So I believe white folks love you. I believe they need you. I believe all of those things. I just don't believe they care about you, right? And a lot of times the reason in a relationship, when somebody does not care about you, the reason that you tolerate that is because you really don't care about yourself, right? So you might want to feel like I got to fix them, I got to change them and all sorts of, really you need to change yourself, right? And that's the conversation with racism. We think we need to change white people. We got Black people literally who make a living going around and convincing white people to like Black people more. Like really, that whole, I'm no disrespect. Like, for example, Kendu Isaacs wrote that book on anti-racism. And I was in the book, I appreciate the respect that, he put me in the book somewhere. I don't, maybe like a footnote somewhere. I don't know. I'm not important. But when I saw the anti-racism book and Alicia showed it to me, I said, this would be a great educational book for white people, because I don't need to read any of this. I'm not interested in reading this. This is not training white people to become better people. Maybe you've taught us that it's our job since slavery to make white people better and to save white people. That's not my job. I'm not interested in that. That's not so anybody in a university that wants to invite me in as an anti-racism speaker, please do not invite me to speak on your campus as an anti-racism speaker. I will turn it down no matter how much money you offer. I swear to God, because I am not your guy. I am not the guy who feels that it is his job to go to white people and to convince them to be better people. I'm the person who wants to convince Black people to be better people. I don't want to work on the world. I want to work on myself. I want to work on us, right? I don't want to go across and sit and try to get them to see how wonderful we are. I'm trying to get us to see how wonderful we are. Because if we see how wonderful we are, then we won't settle for the bullshit. We won't let anybody just come in and take something valuable for nothing. The reason that your power has been depleted over time is because for 400 or 500 years, going all the way back to Africa, you were participating in what Dr. Claude Anderson refers to as the doctrine of unequal exchange. The doctrine of unequal exchange is when you don't know your value and somebody comes along and they offer you scraps for something that's really precious, you give it away, right? So they went to Africa, and the Europeans, they said, oh my God, they've got gold and they've got timber and they've got oil and they've got all, silver, and they got all these resources that we really need in Europe because we're all dusty and raggedy and stinky and shit. So we want to get all of this. So they came and they gave them bullshit in exchange for things that were truly precious and truly valuable. They were giving them like Bibles, and not that the Bible's not precious, but you can make your own damn Bible, right? We had Bibles in Africa, right? Or whatever. We had our own versions of that, right? They gave them used jewelry and or old guns, like just a bunch of crap. And so what happens when you trade in that way, when you're giving up something precious and they're giving you something cheap, then you create what is called in economic theory, they call that a trade deficit. A trade deficit. A trade deficit is when every time we sit down and we trade, you somehow walk away with all the chips. I walk away with less chips than I walked to the table with in the first place, to the point where I shouldn't have even done a deal with you. And you've been trained to engage in the doctrine of unequal exchange for 500 years. Just go ask Megan Thee Stallion when she talks about her record deal and how somebody's ripping her off with the record deal. It might even be a Black-owned company. I don't know. I don't even give a shit. This is not a diss on Megan Thee Stallion, but there are endless stories. Am I right or am I right? There are endless stories about rappers who will tell you how they got screwed over because their record deal was garbage and the record label made all this money and they didn't make anything. And it's kind of like, well, maybe you just didn't see the value of what you had. Maybe you didn't read the contract. Maybe did they not? Did they sneak and make you sign the deal? Did they hang you over the balcony like Vanilla Ice and force you to sign the contract? Did they put a gun to your head? Maybe that's what they did. They put a gun to your head and forced you to sign the deal. Or maybe you didn't value what you had. You didn't take the time to think strategically. You didn't push a hard bargain. You didn't negotiate properly. And then you got screwed. And now you're going back and rewriting history to say, this person exploited me. They probably did, but to some extent, I'm not sure how you can talk about that exploitation without including your own choices in the equation. So I'm a believer, this is just me, that there's some situations, politically, economically, and otherwise, where we could do a little bit more to address and manage our own exploitation. Maybe you could start, for example, in really looking at the results that your politicians give you instead of just voting based on stupid shit. Maybe you should be voting based on policy and not whether or not somebody showed up at a versus competition between Monica and Brandy and said that just like Brandy used her voice to vote, we have to all use our voice to vote. Maybe that's not exactly the best way to get the vote of an intelligent person, right? Maybe Monica and Brandy singing, as wonderful as they are, as beautiful as they are, as talented as they are, should be separated from whether or not you're going to choose to support a particular political candidate. Maybe the reason that they showed up at the Monica versus Brandy competition, instead of going to a place where intelligent Black people live, where they're going to be challenged and scrutinized and questioned, is because they sat in a room and said, you know, we really don't like it. It gets very uncomfortable when Black people start asking questions. So maybe we should go to the place where Black people are intellectually drunk. Maybe we can go and take advantage of them the same way we take advantage of a drunk person, right? And go in when they're feeling good and singing and just going with the flow, and everybody just does it because it's the cool, trendy thing to do. And not one motherfucker in that room can give you a logical reason why they did what they did. That's basically how how people trick you into giving them sex when you really don't want to sleep with the person. What do? What do people do when they're trying to get sex with you, right? They might, and ladies know more about this, right? They might play certain music. They might get you a little bit tipsy, right? They might bring you some flowers, get you feeling all romantic and everything, right? That's kind of what they do. So that whole get them drunk first mindset, that works for everything. That's basically how they do unconscious spending, unconscious consumer behavior. When you walk in the store, pay attention to what the store does. The store will play music, like your favorite music, so you bop into the music because you're trying to be cool, right? They have images on the wall of people that you want to be like oh, I want to look like that. And so they'll do, and then you put on the outfit and they tell you how good it looks on you, right? So you won't even care about the price tag. And next thing you know, you walking out of there with a whole bunch of shit that you did not intend to buy. Right? That is unconscious consumption, right? And the opposite of that is to gain consciousness. When people talk about being woke, most woke ass people don't know anything about what it means to be woke. Most conscious people are about the most unconscious people I've ever seen in my life. You use the term conscious like it's a buzzword, like it's just a cool term to use, or you use woke like just because you say it, that's really going to be true. No, being woke and being conscious means you're looking around, you're taking observations, you're measuring things, you are thinking strategically, you are processing information, right? That's what consciousness means. It means if I buy a product from you, I'm going to look through and make sure that it fits with my budget. I'm going to make sure it's going to give me what I want. I'm going to do my research and my homework and find out if this is the place I should be buying from, right? So the same thing is true when you talk about buying a politician with your vote, right? I'm not going to let you just talk me into it and sweet talk me into doing something like this. No, this is important. So I'm going to do the research. I'm going to ask the hard questions. I'm going to challenge you a little bit. And anybody who has a problem with that is somebody that was trying to get over on you. You know, I had a discussion one time. I think this is a perfect example. There was this guy in LA who I did business with, who I shouldn't have done business with. I'm going to say this. I shouldn't have done business with this guy. He was a con artist. He was a scammer, big time. And he took a lot of money from me. I'm not afraid to admit that. You don't do everything right. Sometimes you do stuff and you invest in things and it doesn't work out. So I got this guy, and I had figured out, at first I didn't figure out what he was doing, because at first he sweet talked me. He got me into, like, you know, this whole pro-black stuff, and he wasn't really pro-black. He was just using language that he knew would resonate with me. So he would call me brother a lot. Well, you know, brother, we as black people got to come together, and we got to do this and do that. And so I invested in something, and it was like a film project. And I started noticing that all the things that he said he was going to do, he wasn't doing. You know, all the things that he said would be delivered weren't being delivered. You know, the deadlines were being missed. I'd call and I say, well, what's going on? I thought we said we'd have it done by October 1st. Oh, well, it's something happened and we're going to have it done. It'll be done next month. I promise. Next month will come by. It wouldn't happen. And I got him on the phone and I started doing what I should have did all along. I started asking questions. I started asking serious, significant, specific questions. And I said, okay, so you say it's going to be due this day. What assurances do I have that it's going to be done that day? Who can I call to make sure that it's going on track? Okay, oh, so you say that you hired a contractor to do this. Can I call the contractor so I can find out what work that they're doing? Well, no, you don't need to talk to the contractor. Why you need to talk to the contractor for? I got that. No, you obviously don't got that, because every time I've done the same thing and I've shown up to pay my money and you haven't given me results, right? So, you know, I kind of need you to give me some ways that I can verify things as we go along. And the more we talked, the more I was asking more and more questions, the angrier he got, the madder he got, to the point where he was like, look, boys, you're pissing me off. Da, da, da. I was like, well, yeah, I know you're pissed off and I'm sorry to hear that, but I need an answer to my question. And then eventually he just got mad and he hung up the phone. And I had a friend that was listening to the conversation. And I said, so what do you think was going on in that conversation? She said, oh, he got pissed because you called him on his bullshit. And so when I go back to when Joe Biden was interviewing with Charlemagne the God. And I remember that Charlemagne was doing an interview that was the exact opposite of Cardi B. Cardi B's interview was predictable. You know exactly what she was going to ask about. She was very straight laced. That's not who Cardi is, right? Cardi is a woman who runs around rapping about her pussy all day long, right? And how she used to drug men and steal their money, right? So Cardi B is not a straight laced, Beaver Cleaver, Claire Huxtable type person, but she put on that whole persona for the Joe Biden interview. She was very well behaved because that was what they'd agreed on in the beginning. Charlemagne didn't quite do that. I give Charlemagne credit. Charlemagne asked Joe Biden tough questions. Charlemagne asked about the Black community. Charlemagne pressed Biden when the question wasn't answered properly. And what did Biden do? Biden got pissed. Biden broke down. Biden got mad. Well, and the reason Biden got, and then he said that, well, if you don't vote for me, then you ain't Black, right? And that set the world on fire. And the reason that he broke was for the same reason that guy broke during that conversation we had. The reason he got pissed off and hung up was because I called him on his bullshit. Well, the reason Biden said that crazy thing about if you don't vote for me, you ain't Black is because when you press people hard enough, eventually the truth comes out. Eventually they confess to the crime. Eventually they go ahead and admit that they did it, right? Eventually they go and they tell you what's really going on. Eventually they get pissed because you called them on their bullshit. The same thing was true with Kamala Harris. If you saw when Kamala Harris was interviewed by a smart young Black woman on the grill, I don't know her name, but she was very smart. She asked her about reparations. Kamala gave a bullshit answer. She asked her again, and Kamala gave another bullshit answer. She pressed her again, and then Kamala said, well, it's not like I'm just going to sit here and do something only for Black people. Boom. Got her to confess the truth. Got her to confess the truth. And that's really what I see with this. I think I'm not telling you what to do when it comes to voting. I'm just telling you, don't be stupid. I'm not telling you, who to vote for, Trump or Biden. I'm telling you, just don't be a slave. Like whatever it is, if you vote for Trump, make sure it's because you know exactly why you're doing it. If you vote for Biden, know exactly why you're doing it. But don't do it because somebody used your ancestors against you. Like, well, your ancestors died for you. Your ancestors died for you to vote. No, they didn't. That's not. Sorry, leave my ancestors out of this. Well, now if you don't vote, you don't count. You don't have what? No, I know that I count. Like I don't stop telling me that I don't count if I don't do what you tell me to do. That's no different from a guy telling a girl, well, if you don't have sex with me, then ain't nobody gonna want you. Right? No, that's bullshit. Ladies, if a man ever says something like that to you, that's abuse. Don't let him do that to you. Right. So I think that this abusive relationship is one I'm not going to participate in. And also I refuse to make enemies over politics. I'm just not going to do it. I had friends. I had friends. I think the poor Michael Imhotep at the African History Network. I think I drove him crazy because I was challenging a lot of the BS that was out here, and I think Michael takes it too seriously. I'm just gonna say I think it's silly. I don't see anywhere our community is really going to accelerate by doing the same thing that we've done before. If you do the same thing you've done before, you're gonna get the same thing that you've always gotten. So if you're happy with what you've got, then that's fine. I'm a person who's not happy with what I've got. So that's why I'm going to try something different. And that's what I told Ice Cube. I said, look, I'm just glad you upset in the apple cart. I don't know how this is going to play out. Maybe this is bad strategy. But one thing I know is that if you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to keep getting what you're getting 9 times out of 10. So let me see. Somebody mentioned Freedom Home Academy. Yes, Freedom Home Academy, my favorite school. We gave them some money, and I'm going to keep giving them money. We actually have a foundation now. And you talk about things that I believe can make a difference. We actually created a foundation, Alicia and I, the Boyce and Alicia Watkins Foundation, and we're going to donate to independent Black-owned schools. We're not going to go pay for expensive, overpriced college scholarships at white-owned universities. We're not here to support failing public schools that are destroying and brainwashing our kids. We thought about it very carefully. We want to support Black-owned schools that are owned and run by Black people who are going to teach these children how to be assets to the Black community. It doesn't matter if your head is full of a bunch of education, if it's the wrong education. If you're being trained and weaponized to be an enemy to Black people or an asset to somebody else, that does not benefit us. In order for if you shoot a gun, in order for that bullet to have an impact, it must do two things. It must do two things for the bullet to have an impact. It must, one, have enough velocity to actually go at a fast enough rate to have an impact. And two, it must hit the target. It must hit the target. So your education, your knowledge, all the shit you shove in your head is your velocity. That's your potential. That's all the greatness that you could accomplish if you put your mind to it. But then being on target is where we miss it. We get a lot of overeducated Black people who are severely miseducated, and they're hitting the wrong targets, and we think that these people are going to be assets to the community when really they're being assets to somebody else, or really some of them unfortunately become liabilities to the Black community, because a lot of education gives you a lot of confidence. And there's nothing worse than a overconfident idiot. There's nothing worse than somebody who's super confident about what they know and they really don't know shit. Like, because I went to Brown University, or I went to Harvard, or I have a master's degree, or I have a PhD, that makes me confident that I know a bunch of valuable stuff, when really you may know a whole bunch of nothing. You may literally know a whole bunch of nothing. So I don't want to educate kids to have a whole bunch of nothing. I want them to be educated to have a whole bunch of something. So Freedom Home Academy is at the top of my list, because Freedom Home Academy is educating our kids to have a whole bunch of something. They are creating intellectual warriors that are going to go out here and fill their brains up with knowledge, and then put that knowledge into action and build their community in extraordinary ways, start businesses, create think tanks, and just do all these amazing things, so that 50, 100 years from now, when I'm old, gray, dead, and gone, these kids are going to be changing the world. So I'm not really worried about what's happening in 2020. 2020 doesn't mean anything to me. The 2020 election means very little to me. I don't care who gets elected one way or the other, to be honest with you. I'm thinking about the year 2070. I believe the year 2070 is going to be the year where Black people rise up, emerge, and just take over the whole shit. What we're doing now is we're laying the foundation right now. We're laying the foundation for a vision that is far bigger than any of us can imagine. So all we got to do is do our part. So I'm not campaigning for Black people. I'm not campaigning for Democrats. I'm not campaigning for Republicans. I'm campaigning for Black people. Now, somebody asked me to talk about Jay Morrison. I've talked about that about 3 times. So I'm not going to talk about that anymore. So if you're trolling on that topic, you should probably go troll somewhere else, or just go watch an older video. I imagine the FBI, CIA, whatever, SEC investigation settled all of that. I don't know. I don't run another man's business, so I'm not here to really talk about that. So if you keep asking that question, just know the moderators will eventually tell you to go, because you're not here really to build. You're not really here to solve a problem. You're here to taint and to destroy something that's going on. This is a Boyce Watkins conversation about the election. This is not a Jay Morrison conversation about the Tulsa Fund. I talked about that. I'm not going to keep talking about that every live, so please stop that. All right, so anyway, I'm about to go, guys. Please hit the thumbs up button, share, subscribe button. If you haven't done it yet, please hit the thumbs up button. Make sure you subscribe to drboycetv.com. I will hit you guys up. If you haven't, if you want to learn to get some free stuff from the Black Business School, don't forget, you can actually get stuff for free. We give you a lot of free stuff. Just go to allblackeconomics.com. That's allblackeconomics.com. You can get a free e-copy of my book, It Takes a Village to Raise the Bar. A New Paradigm for Black America. That book lays out my whole vision. It's a very short book though, and but you can have it for free. So go to allblackeconomics.com. Thank you guys for listening. And again, if people who disagree with me, no hard feelings. I'm not going to fight you. Here's some things I'm not going to do. I'm not going to fight you over Trump and Biden, because Trump and Biden, I'm not going to lose Black friends over Trump and Biden, because Trump and Biden will never lose friends over you. Give me a yes or no if you understand what I'm saying. Trump and Biden will never lose friends over Black people. So why are you losing Black friends over these guys who don't care anything about you? So you can disagree with me all day. You can tell me I'm an asshole, that I'm wrong, that I'm stupid, that what I'm saying is dumb. I don't give a shit. I'm going to talk to you about things that matter, that have nothing to do with whether or not which white man we pick to run the country, right? Because I don't believe in that system. That whole system's screwed up. Number 2, I'm not going to spend as much energy fighting Black people on the internet as I'm spending fighting white supremacy and building our community up. Seriously, I'm just not, right? So if you come to me with petty stuff, because what happens is on the internet is people like to get in beefs. They like to get in these they almost like rappers have beefs, like they have internet beefs. Like, oh, let me tell you that motherfucker, he's a fraud, he's a scammer. People like to use terms like fraud and scammer a lot, whatever, which unfortunately, a lot of the people who use the term scammer are actually scammers themselves, right? Oh, don't give your money to him, give your money to me, give me money for my YouTube channel, and I'm not gonna give you nothing back except a video, but I want you to give me money and I'm not gonna give you nothing back, but I'm gonna go destroy a Black business. So that I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. What I'm more interested in hearing is if you have ways to make the business better, if you have ways to solve the damn problem, that's fine. Because if somebody is building something and you destroy what they're building, then we have 2 destroyed entities right in front of us. Like destruction plus destruction leads to nothing, right? So if you have a critique about a business or have a critique about somebody, I want to hear something that says, look, I want to resolve things with this brother. I want to make things better. I want to do something good for the community. That's fine. Or if you feel, maybe you're jealous, maybe you have something that you want people to know about and you're mad because everybody knows about what they're doing. Nobody knows about what you're doing. Maybe there's room for everybody. Maybe I can shout out your business and be like, hey, everybody go support them. Go take a look at them. And then you make the decision, right? Remember I told you, I don't tell Black people what to do. So maybe you make the decision. Like, okay, do you want to go support what they're doing or you want to support something else? So for example, like with the Tulsa Fund, you can have more than one fund in the Black community. You should have thousands of funds, not one. White people don't have one fund, right? So the obsession with the Tulsa Fund doesn't resonate with me because I can't think that way. I've never seen white people say we've got one mutual fund or one real estate fund that we all must support. No, some white people think that what the other guy's doing is complete bullshit, so they go build something better, right? So I would just say this, I invested in the Tulsa Fund. I haven't had any problems. That's why I can't speak. I'm not going to speak on stuff that hasn't happened. I haven't seen any issues with my investment, but maybe there's something there. I'm not saying yes or no, whatever. But at the end of the day, go create a fund. Go through the SEC regulations. You got to file a lot of paperwork. Get you some lawyers. Go do the paperwork, and then come to my podcast and say in the chat, or actually, if you follow the Black Business School on Instagram, look up the Real Black Business School on Instagram, where I do Black business shout outs. So if you have a competitor for that other business, put your business in the shout out. I will shout you out too. I want to see you win too. I want to see everybody win. I do. I'm just not going to get involved in internet fights because I realize that stuff was so petty. It's like, what's the result at the end of the day? It's just a bunch of broke Negroes trying to kill each other. I don't get that. I don't see that. I would like to see something constructed and something built. So that's the direction I'm trying to go, because we're all tempted by the petty. We're all tempted to hate each other because we've been trained to do this since Jim Crow or since Willie Lynch or whatever. So anyway, I'm about to go, guys. Have a good day. Hit the thumbs up button, share, and subscribe button. And let me acknowledge those of you who made donations. I see some brother who made a $99 donation. And I want to acknowledge that. I apologize for not mentioning. You know what, man? I can't do anything because my screen is frozen. But those of you who made donations, I just want you to know I really appreciate it. And literally my screen is totally frozen. So I have the inability to click and see who that was. But I want you to know I appreciate you. And I'm very sorry that I can't repeat your comment on the air. So take care, guys. Please have a good day. Thank you for listening. I will see you soon. Be good. Bye-bye.